Alrighty then. Successful Indie Author 5-Minute Focus, episode 1126. Mistakes. We all make them. Chair clothes. This was on the back of the couch this morning when I was a little cold, so I put it on. Anyway, chair clothes. And Stanley sleeping back there. Mistakes. Okay, so you have blue eyes in the first couple pages, and then all of a sudden, 100 pages later, the character has brown eyes. All right, that's easy to fix. You just fix it and re-upload your file. Have a nice day, no matter where it is. And with print-on-demand technology of today, you can even fix your paperbacks. You have not printed 10,000 copies of that bad boy with that continuity error in there. What about a book that doesn't fit the genre? I have one of those. I call it a thriller, but it's not as thrillery as other thrillers, even though it is a thriller technically. So I market it as action-adventure, even though it says thriller on the cover. And it does great as action-adventure. So a book that doesn't fit the genre. You might have to tweak things. You might have to call it something different instead of a thriller. But you get the idea. It's not an unfixable error. Too many and disparate tropes in one story. This is something new authors fall victim to, in that they have all of these ideas for stories in their head from when they were a little baby until they start writing. And they try to put them all in this one story. Well, that might be too much, because writing a book is overwhelming. So let me put all these ideas in there because I don't know if I can do this a second time. Well, you got to focus. You got to keep the reader focused. You can't pull the reader 12 different directions. So too many. So that one, well, let's just start over and pick one, and let's make the story about that one trope, that one thing, and focus that way. And you'll find that, hey, you do have another book in you, and maybe another one after that, and more. Because when you tell a story, more stories come to you, and all of a sudden you're a storyteller, and that's what you do. What about the mistake of hiring a service that doesn't help you? We've all paid for things that we don't use. We paid for things that we tried to use and it didn't work for us. And then we paid for people to help us and they didn't help us. So we've all done that. And that's money gone. Once it's spent, trying to get money back for your own responsibility, let the buyer beware, is something that's generally not going to happen. So just understand the old gambling adage of never bet more than you can afford to lose. I've seen some people who took out a second mortgage on their house in order to pay for additional marketing on books, and that's not something I would recommend. Don't spend more than you can afford to lose, because bootstrapping, where you only spend what you have, that's not easy, but one of your currencies is time. So you don't have to pay in cash, but you can pay with your time. And there are things that you can do. There's a lot of things you can do. I put a number of them in the 5-minute focus videos over the years. But paying until you have no money left and you're neck deep in debt, that's not something you want to do on a risk if you don't know. So you got to know that, hey, this next book is going to be big because it's already done all this. All right, well, then maybe. But still, that's a gamble. And gambling, don't bet more than you can afford to lose. What about scams? You, oh man, this service looks great. Let me hire it. And that's it. Your money's gone and you get nothing. Not even okay, let's try something that they don't try. It's scams. People fall victim to those. I check my credit card almost every single day for charges and stuff. And I have caught charges. Somebody was charging flights around South America. And okay, jumped on, canceled those charges and reported it and got a new card, and life is good. But there are things that, is it your mistake that you got scammed? Well, sometimes it is. Phishing, where people say, oh man, your Apple account is getting ready to be closed. You better log in. And you go over there and it doesn't automatically fill in your name or account number. And you're like, okay. And then you just plug away anyway. Well, you just gave the scammers your access, and within seconds they'll be into your account, changing your password and doing things and buying stuff, and all of a sudden, holy cow. So what's your responsibility on that? You do the best you can, and then you get a service to help you for identity fraud and things like that. And always use like a credit card, not your debit card, because debit card, they empty your bank account, you can't get that money back. But credit card, you can. Debit, yeah, you can't. It's a big hassle. Sometimes you can't, but credit cards, you definitely can. Cancel those payments and get your money back. What about you trash your brand? You go after your readers. You publish a book and nobody likes it, and you say, my readers suck. You guys are horrible. Well, guess what? You're not bouncing back from that one. But the readers, don't denigrate your readers, and don't tell people how smart you are. Oh, geez, this book is obviously above you that you're not enjoying it. Yeah, don't do that, because being a jerk is not a good way to sell books. Being a little bit humble and straightforward. Hey, this is me. I've been they tried to cancel me a couple different times and it hasn't worked because, put your money where your mouth is. I've done a lot for people, and like these videos, nobody pays me to do these. So I just do these. I'm up to over 1,100 of these videos, as well as other things. And people who've met me, that is my biggest fan base of fellow authors. So they'll say, hey, no, he's not that at all. When people make up stuff and come up with these crazy stories, and what do? Well, you be authentic and you do the best you can every day that you can. And if somebody tries to cancel you, fighting back with them isn't just, hey, that's not me. Okay, next, moving on. And that's the best you can do. So is it your mistake? Yeah, sure, it might have been something you said, might have been words that you used that were misinterpreted. And the best you can say is, hey, here's what I meant. The way you interpret it is not quite correct. And you have to fight your way through that. But those are your mistakes. Well, sometimes they lead back to you. Other times they don't. But we all make mistakes. And the best thing we can do is be a good peer, a good colleague, a good fellow author, trying to help where we can. And then you'll find out that your mistakes aren't so bad when you've got people cheering for you to be your best self. Hey, this is a good day. Enjoy your sales. Enjoy the notoriety of a good book. So you have that fan base of your colleagues and your peers, and do the same thing for them. All right. So mistakes, none of them are fatal. Don't trash your brand. That's one of the biggest recommendation I can make. As long as you do that, you stay true to writing your stories, and then you'll probably come out okay. Peace, fellow humans.